Well, it's been a busy time so far for the Indiana Hoosiers in the transfer portal. High school recruiting never sleeps.
You are Locked On Hoosiers, your daily podcast on the Indiana Hoosiers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in. It is the Locked On Hoosiers podcast. I'm your man, Jacob Goins. Appreciate you being here, making this your first listen each and every day. We are, of course, a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, which is your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Look, make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $150 win or lose. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. Well, thank you so much for making this your first listen each and every day. And lots of coverage here on the channel about the transfer portal success for this Indiana Hoosier squad. And we'll talk about how Carlyle and Rice have both become official. And Mike Woodson had some comments about that and some thoughts about both of those guys becoming officially Indiana Hoosiers. So we'll have that for you today. Plus, Kel'el Ware, who is the 7-footer leaving the Indiana Hoosiers after just 1 year, projected as a first-round draft pick. We'll talk about that later on as well. But as much fun as it has been talking about the transfer portal and as exciting as it's been, and the grind and the work that this coaching staff has put in for Indiana has put in to transfer portal recruiting, it still does not replace high school recruiting, because that is so important. And it's something that us Hoosier people, we understand is a major concern, especially when you start looking at the fact that, oh yeah, we only have one recruit coming into the high school from the high school ranks from 2024 in Bryson Tucker. And he was even a late gift. Let's just be honest. I mean, you only had the one in Liam McNeely. He pulled his NLI, and then you happened to get Bryson Tucker because of a couple of things. But he is coming, and that's great news. But this coaching staff is already hitting the road for 2025. And Wednesday was a busy day for the Indiana, or a Tuesday it was. Tuesday was a busy day for the Indiana Hoosiers. They were on the road seeing 4 different players. How about this? 3 4-stars and a 5-star. The 4 stars were Trent Sisley, Darius Adams, and Braylon Mullins. And the 5-star was Jalen Haralson. Yes, seeing top 20, top 50, top 60 players in the 2025 class. And it's something that I'm excited that we're addressing it now. We're addressing it early. We're not going to worry about if at the end of the cycle, oh no, we only have one player, or there for a little bit, none, right? The Hoosiers and this staff and head coach Mike Woodson are hitting the ground and going hard because, again, high school recruiting doesn't go away just because the transfer portal exists. You can survive and you can sort of hang on, if you will, but you still have to dominate the high school recruiting ranks. And you start talking about these guys and where they rank in the country. I mean, they really are unbelievable in their rankings and the fact that Indiana's going after them, visiting them, some of them at their schools, some of them for in-home visits. And most of these guys have been to Bloomington numerous times. 6'6", as a guard, Haralson is the number 11 ranked player in the country for the 2025 class. That's pretty awesome to me. And how about that? A 6'6" guard is a little bit unheard of in high school basketball. It's becoming more of a popular thing in college basketball, and it's definitely a thing in the NBA. Look, you've got to have size to play the guard position now. You just do. And if you don't, you can survive for a little bit, but you will be left behind. And that's not going to be the case with Haralson at 6'6", man. This guy is an absolute beast. He's the 5-star that the Hoosiers are going after. Jalen Haralson at 6'6", the number 11 ranked player in the country. And here's the good thing too. During his high school days, he has played multiple spots. I think he could be recruited for multiple spots for Indiana, depending on what comes back after this year, what the Hoosiers could kind of use him for, and he could kind of move around a little bit if he were to end up in Bloomington. So that's one of the guys that the Hoosiers are after. Adams is the number 18 player in the country at 6'5", another combo guard that the Hoosiers are going after. Then Sisley, we're just going to kind of name him off here. Sisley, 6'8" as a forward, the number 61 player in the 2025 class. I mean, you talk about three guys there, plus Mullins, who is really a three-point sniper. I mean, those guys just in their own right are really, really good. Again, Haralson, Adams, Mullins, and Sisley, guys that are ranked nationally, guys that are 4 and 5 stars, and all sort of a little bit different, which is exciting too. You're bringing in just uber talented guys. You're bringing in skill guys. You're bringing in shooters. And I know they haven't committed or anything like that, but you're at least going after them, I guess is a better way to say that. You're going after and recruiting the biggest and the best players in the country. And let's be real. That hasn't been a problem here. Going after the players has been over the top successful, if you want to hang a banner for that. I mean, Mike Woodson and his staff have gone out and recruited some of the biggest players in the country. They just haven't had the success that they've been looking for. On the high school side of things, they've brought in good players through the portal, and they've brought in good players as freshmen. Mackenzie Mbako was one. You've now got Bryson Tucker, who's coming in, but you can't just survive on one player per cycle. Heck, not even 2 players per cycle. You really need to be bringing in 3, 4, 5 guys, if you can get that high, in each cycle. And man, when you look at the 2025 class on the high school ranks, there are a stupid amount of good talent in there. And the Hoosiers are visiting 4 in one day. And like I said, not just going to their schools, not just seeing them in the middle of the day. You're going and having in-home visits, which means there's mutual interest there. And that's something that you have to be excited about. And at this point, you got to close the deal. Get the signature, get the commit, and get him to Bloomington as fast as you can when he's done with the high school. Now, I know you still got a little bit of time, but do you really have time? It's almost May of 2024. These guys are all going into their senior seasons of high school basketball. Most kids want to be committed. Most kids want to know where they're going. Some want to wait, and that's fine. But a lot of them want to already have that decided. And the fact that the Hoosiers are out there taking the whole staff with them, I mean, they're taking everybody with them. That's really, really exciting to me. And it shows that they understand Mike Woodson gets it. And I'll say this too, he's planning on being here in 2025, which take that for what you will. I know that you would want him to do that and prepare that way, but some coaches don't do that. Some have given up and given in, but Mike Woodson and the staff are not doing that. They're preparing for the future for them to be here, and they're doing that by recruiting Jalen Haralson, Darius Adams, Trent Sisley, and Braylon Mullins. Well, coming up on Locked On Hoosiers, want to talk about 2 guys from the transfer portal that have already committed but have now become official. They have signed. Myles Rice and Kanaan Carlyle have signed. It's official. They're coming to Bloomington. And Mike Woodson had some interesting thoughts. I want to talk about what he said and those guys coming to the Hoosiers when we come back on Locked On Hoosiers. Today's episode is brought to you by Monopoly Go. Guys, I need you all to listen up for this huge announcement, okay? I've been tracking the leaderboards every single day, keeping my eye on the scores, putting all my heart into it, and I'm super pumped to announce, look, I'm finally on top. I'm the best there is. That's right. Obviously, I'm talking about the hit mobile game, Monopoly Go. You've probably heard of it. It's been downloaded over 150 million times, included by me, most of my friends, all of my family, I know. It's a great mobile twist on classic Monopoly. You can play anywhere, anytime. You explore hundreds of Monopoly boards from Las Vegas to Camelot to the moon, all while raking in huge fortune. Charge rent on iconic properties just like classic Monopoly. You can charge your friends rent on your iconic properties or go after their Monopoly money by pulling bank heist and taking wrecking balls to their landmarks. But my favorite part is the leaderboard, where you can see who's a Monopoly tycoon and who's gone bankrupt. So get yourself on the charts. Download Monopoly Go now free on the App Store and Google Play. Today's episode is brought to you by the Game Time app. This is by far my one and only go-to ticketing app on Game Time. I've bought sporting event tickets here. I've bought concert tickets here. I know friends that have bought theater tickets here, and everybody absolutely loves it. My friends love it. My family loves it. My coworkers use it now as well. It really is the best ticketing app. And right now, with the playoffs going on, with the NBA, the NHL, baseball going on too, you may as well check it out. If you're looking to go and check out the Game Time app. They have last minute ticket deals, flash deals, and hey, they even do some zone deals sometimes where they'll have special zones, have discounted prices. You can't beat that, and nobody else does that. Plus, their views from every single seat and every single venue gives you the chance to see your view before you buy. And their lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection, job loss protection, and more. And their ticket coverage. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Welcome back into Locked On Hoosiers. Appreciate you being here, making this your go-to spot for all things Indiana athletics. If you're new here, be sure you subscribe to the channel. Or if you've been coming back and haven't done that already, what are you waiting for? It's free, it's easy, takes just one tap, and you'll get notified every time we post a new episode on YouTube. You can also like the video. That helps share it, spread it around, get it to all the Hoosier fans around the world. And if you're on audio, you can follow us there, like it on there, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new episode of Locked On Hoosiers. In the transfer portal, it's been very successful. And we've talked about how the Hoosiers have the number one ranked class in the country. And here's what's exciting is Myles Rice and Kanaan Carlyle have both become official. They have signed, sealed, delivered. They are coming to Indiana. And here's what Mike Woodson has had to say about both of these guys. We'll start with Kanaan Carlyle, the 6'3" combo guard who is officially going to come to Indiana. Mike Woodson says Kanaan is and Kanaan's such a cool name too. He says Kanaan is a dynamic player with the ball in his hands, with the length and skill set to create scoring chances for himself and others. He goes on to say his ability off the bounce pairs nicely with his shooting stroke. His length, quickness, and mentality give him the capability to be a high-impact defender for our ball club. We are really excited to welcome him and his family to IU. And he mentioned something in there that I want to mention as well, that I want to kind of highlight a little bit. Kanaan Carlyle is a really good defender. He's really lengthy at 6'3". He's active. He's really athletic. And I think that it's an underrated part of his game where he can make Indiana better defensively, because not only did we struggle offensively with our guards a year ago, we also needed some really big help on the defensive side. And he can bring that. I think Myles Rice can too, but I think Carlyle maybe a little bit more. And think about all the guards we went up against this past year where, man, we just struggled to get stops. We couldn't defend the three. We couldn't hardly defend the dribble drive and just not playing solid defense. And once that guard goes around your initial guard, if you're on defense and you get blown by, then everybody has to collapse. Everybody has to recover. And eventually somebody's going to be left open. And that's just not where you want to be if you're a basketball team on defense. And so I think Carlyle can help you prevent that. I think he has got the footwork to at least stay in front of some of these guys. And there's going to be a lot of movement in guards in the Big Ten next year. We talked a little bit about that with Andy Patton of Locked On College Basketball yesterday, just about how the Big Ten is going to look so much different. And you're bringing in so many new teams, but yet there's still going to be elite level guards. And so I think Carlyle brings you that on top of what we already know is going to be his really good offensive game at that spot in the guard rotation, where he can shoot off the dribble. He can shoot off the pass. He can just make his own shot. And I think he's going to be a lot more consistent too. And I still believe, I know some people disagree and some people agree, I believe he's going to start. Him and Myles Rice will both be in the starting lineup. I truly believe that. You don't bring them in if you don't plan on starting them, or at least letting them compete. And if they get beat out, they get beat out. I think that's a bigger issue, but I don't think that's the case here. I think Carlyle and Rice will both start for the Hoosiers next year. But I think you just have a more confidence that Carlyle and Rice, we're going to get to him and Woodson's comments in a second, there's just going to be more consistency there, which is such a big deal because you didn't get that out of Trey Galloway last year. And I'm just talking guards in general. You didn't get that from Xavier Johnson. You definitely didn't get it from Anthony Leo or Gabe Cupps, who were just non-existent most of the time. And so with that, you need those gimme points. And I say gimme in a good way. Like you just need to know that you've got starters that are going to give you productive minutes. And that's something we didn't have a year ago. But I think you bring that in with Kanaan, Carlyle, and with Myles Rice. And here's what Mike Woodson had to say about the Pac-12 Freshman of the Year, standing at 6'3" at the point guard spot. He says, Mike Woodson talking about Myles Rice, Myles is a savvy downhill guard that really succeeds in pick and roll situations. Should work out just fine in Indiana's system, don't you think? He goes on to say he is a 3-level scorer that makes the right play consistently. Whether that is getting to the rim or finding the open man, he is going to be a huge help for our ball club, and we are very excited to welcome him and his family to Bloomington. Yeah, abso-freaking-lutely. Myles Rice is going to be that dude. I think he has the chance to be a top 5 point guard in the Big Ten next year. I think he's that good. And I think Indiana's system really works with him. Now, I've said this numerous times, and I will continue to say this. Indiana and Mike Woodson need to adjust the system a little bit. We have to run it a little bit differently, but not a ton. Because, yes, we're bringing in shooters, and I still think we're doing that from the transfer portal, and Rice and Carlyle don't really bring you that shooting threat you were looking for, which is okay. That's okay. And these guys are going to help you run the system you already have. The high pick and roll that was not ran enough last year, man. You had a 7-footer in Kel'el Ware, who we're talking about in the next segment as a possible first-round draft pick, plus Malik Renew, who were taller and more physical than 95% of the Big Ten, and you didn't run the pick and roll enough, in my opinion. You could run that every play. Run it every play. I don't care. I think it could work. And now you bring in Oumar Ballo, the number 1 transfer portal player in the class. Who's 7 foot tall, by the way. You should be able to run a pick and roll. And then you don't just have to run the standard, set the screen, roll down to the basket, lob it to him, and hope it goes in. No, you don't have to do that every time. But all you got to do is that a couple of times, and the defense has to respect it. Then you pass it to him, whether it be Ballo or Renew or heck, even Mackenzie Mbaka, whoever you want to use, and then you can start to dish it out, and the offense just opens up from there. You're going to have a point guard in Myles Rice that will do that for you. He will run the offense the way it's supposed to be ran, and he is a true point guard. And I think we have forgotten what that looks like here in Bloomington. And I know that's crazy, but we have forgotten what that means and what that truly looks like on top of Kanaan Carlyle as your shooting guard with everybody else that's coming in, plus the guys that are coming back. This is a good team, man. And you can hear it from Mike Woodson. He's excited and he trusts these guys, and you absolutely should. Your guard room is stacked. Are you done? Who knows? I guess we'll find out. Your returners are good. Your freshman Bryson Tucker's good. Your class is phenomenal. This roster is really, really strong. And Mike Woodson believes in it. I believe in it. And I think you should too. Well, coming up in our final segment of Locked On Hoosiers, a guy that's leaving us, unfortunately. It did bring us Oumar Ballo, but we are sad to see Kel'el Ware go. He's projected as a first-round pick. Do you agree with that? We'll talk about that. I'll give you my thoughts and how he can benefit an NBA team coming up in the future. We'll have that for you next on Locked On Hoosiers. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by FanDuel. Look, it's that time of year. It's playoff time in the NBA and the NHL. And man, it's been awesome. I mean, I've been watching it every single night, and it's just so exciting. I'll say the NHL has been a lot better than the NBA, but that's just me. Plus, baseball season's going on in full swing, and FanDuel is your place to bet on every single game, which I've been pretty active, I can't lie. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $150, win or lose. Bet on everything from slap shots to home runs to slam dunks, all on an app that is safe, secure, and easy to use. What are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make your first bet an automatic win. Yep, that's right, an automatic win. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Final segment here on Locked On Hoosiers. Again, appreciate you being here. Shout out to all my everydayers who are those of you that come back each and every day. I appreciate you. You're the reason that we do this. Kel'el Ware, the 7-footer who was here in Bloomington, by far the best player we had on the roster last year, declares for the NBA draft after coming over from the West, played a season here in Bloomington, and got the draft grade that he was looking for and decided to take off. And look, according to a lot of mock drafts, but according to Bleacher Report, Kel'el Ware is a first-round draft pick, number 18 overall by the New Orleans Pelicans. And I've seen a couple of others where he's going late first round, and I've seen a lot where he's gone second round too. And so I kind of open up this question to you, whether it be in the YouTube comments or it be on Twitter. You can follow us at Locked On Hoosiers. Is Kel'el Ware a first-round draft pick in your mind? And I want you to take the Indiana glasses off for just a second and look at Kel'el Ware for the type of player that he is. Is he worthy of a first-round pick? If you're an NBA exec, you're the GM, you're the head coach, or whoever, the owner, whatever the case may be, and you're in the room on draft night, and you've got, let's say, the number 20 overall pick. Do you take Kel'el Ware if he's there? I think I do. I think I probably do. And here's why. A, he's 7 foot tall, which, in case you forgot, that's really tall. Also, man, he just continues to get better. He just had the best season of his career while he was here in Indiana. And like we were talking about with Umar Ballo and the guards that are coming in with the system that the Hoosiers run to highlight that, that's literally what just happened this past year. That's what Mike Woodson and the Hoosiers did, intentionally, unintentionally, whatever. The system that he played in was perfect for him. He ran the pick and roll. He cleaned up the glass. He could just be that guy. The Hoosiers, when in doubt, what was the game plan? Give it to Kel'el Ware and get out of the way, because he was just that good. Now, there are some concerns with him. Sure, he needs to beef up a little bit. There's no doubt about that, because he got pushed around a couple of times this year, I guess this past year. So he's going to have to work on that a little bit and put on a little bit of weight, a little bit of muscle. And I think the NBA will help him do that. I mean, look at some of the guys that have gone in like skinny green beans, and in 4 or 5 years, they're just yoked, right? I think Kel'el Ware can be that, but he's got to shoot the 3 ball. He has to do it. And you see so many centers nowadays in college basketball have started to adapt to that. They've started to adjust and start shooting threes. And like the game plan we talked about this past season with Ware was, look, just make one. Just go 1 for 3. That's all you have to do. The defense has to respect it. That's what the NBA wants. They want tall shooting centers. Look at who's winning MVPs right now. It's Nikola Jokic. It's Joel Embiid. It's those types of guys. Anthony Davis. Those players that are big, strong, physical, can do all the big man things, but can also dribble and shoot the 3. And Kel'el Ware's got to find some dribbling moves. There's no doubt about that. But his shooting wasn't bad. I don't think it was bad at all. He was enough of a threat to knock one down, knock a couple down sometimes, and where the defense had to respect it. If he steps out there, you can't just step away way back here and just let him go. You have to at least step up a hair, and then that's where his facilitating is going to come in. That's where some dribble moves are going to have to come in. But the potential with Kel'el Ware is extremely high. And so if I'm an NBA exec, I take a risk on him, a chance on Kel'el Ware, because of what he brings you with finesse, with his footwork, which is impeccable down low. We saw that this past year. I mean, this guy can play. He can really, really play. And those are things that are so much harder to teach than shooting threes. I mean, that just comes with practice and reps, and you hope it clicks. You don't have to teach him how to get open down low on the block and how to shake off a defender or how to finish over a defender with a little bit of finesse and a finger roll. You don't have to teach Kel'el Ware any of that. Not to mention the defense that he brings as well. Is he the biggest and strongest guy? No. But again, he is 7 foot tall, and some guys can shoot over that, but those guards are still going to struggle to do that. And he's so good at blocking shots. His timing is really good. He knows when the peak of the basketball is, so he knows when to go up or to leave it alone. All of those things are stuff that NBA teams don't have to teach him, and he can just bring that to you right away. Is he a starter day one? No, I don't think so. I guess it would really depend on where he goes, but I don't think so. But I think he could bring you good minutes off the bench and could become a starter down the road. And you know what? I think that's really exciting. And I'd hope nothing but the best for Kel'el Ware. You've got the combine stuff coming up in early May. And then, of course, the NBA draft coming up over the summer. Well, that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers. Man, I appreciate you being here, making this your first listen each and every day. Again, if you have not already, like this video on YouTube if you're watching me right now. Subscribe to the channel there. We're pushing towards 23, 24, 2,500, so thank y'all for that. Also, if you're on audio, follow us on there. Subscribe however you can do it on your platform, and make sure you turn on notifications. Hit the little bell so you never miss a new episode. Hope you have a wonderful, wonderful Thursday. We got another episode coming up to wrap up the week tomorrow and get you into the weekend. So until then, Hoosier fans, stay safe, and I'll talk to you later.